Hey 49er fans, this video is brought to you by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/49ers for 20% off your first order plus free shipping. Again, manscaped.com/49ers for free shipping plus 20% off. More on that in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and jump into today's latest news and rumors regarding the San Francisco 49ers. And there's a lot to get into, a lot to break down. I think you're going to enjoy this episode. Starting with Steve Young on George Kittle. So essentially, here's your George Kittle weekly update on his contract situation. Steve Young thinks George Kittle should be paid a lot of money. Just how much? Well, let's break it down. So, training camp is less than 2 weeks away, right? July 28th, teams will be reporting, which means we're most likely, going to have a scenario where George Kittle will report without a brand new contract. Now, Steve Young thinks George Kittle should not only get tight end money, but actually should get wide receiver money. This is not a good look for all those 49er fans, including someone like myself who covers the team, who does not want George Kittle to get wide receiver money because that is a lot of money. So, Here's what Steve Young said about George Kittle. Quote, no matter how you cut the data, it's proven George Kittle is one of the most talented players in the league and most productive. They're going to have to pay him as a wide receiver. They're going to have to, and George knows that. The problem is there might be a hybrid. I agree that he's not going to necessarily make every dollar that a wide receiver makes, but he's not going to get trapped in the tight end spot. Okay, well, let's break down what Steve Young says here, because the first half of his quote essentially says he's one of the best players in the league and needs to make best player in the league money, and then he says, well, he's not going to get top receiver money, so he kind of flip-flopped in what he was saying. But first off, here are your 5 highest-paid wide receivers in the NFL. Can we all just agree that George Kittle does not deserve to be one of the highest-paid wide receivers in the NFL at the tight end spot? Can we all agree on that, right? He's not going to get Julio Jones money. He doesn't deserve Amari Cooper or Michael Thomas money. And really, honestly, he doesn't deserve A.J. Green or Tyreek Hill money. The only wide receiver on this list you can make the argument is, quote-unquote, worse than the tight end. Again, apples to oranges here. Tight end George Kittle is A.J. Green, and that is because of his age. Would you take George Kittle over Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, Michael Thomas, or Tyreek Hill right now in the National Football League? Think before you answer, because as much as everybody loves George Kittle, and I love George Kittle as well, he's the best tight end in the NFL, I would take all those wide receivers over George Kittle. That's the first point. The next point here is, when Steve Young says that no matter how you cut the data, it's proven that George Kittle is the best player in the NFL or one of the most talented players in the league, he's false on that. Just go to catches for tight ends in 2019, and George Kittle is 4th on the list, behind Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, of course, the Oakland Raider, Zach Ertz, and then George Kittle falls in there at 85 total catches. Now, it's not just catches, it's receiving yards as well, it's touchdowns. He's not number 1 in every single category. Now, does that mean he's not the best tight end in the NFL? No, he still can be the best tight end in the NFL and have worse stats. But this idea that the data proves that he must be paid like one of the best wide receivers is ridiculous. 13 wide receivers had more catches than George Kittle did in 2019. Let me say that again. 13 wide receivers had more catches. Yes, tight end is important. Yes, George Kittle is important. But to say he deserves wide receiver money, to me, it makes absolutely no sense. Now, he was fantastic last year, and he does deserve to be paid. I've said many times, you pay him more than Hunter Henry makes right now for the LA Chargers, which is about $10 million. You pay him between $13 and $15 million. That way, he's not a top-tier wide receiver, but he's not the low part of the top tier in terms of tight end. So $13 to $15 million is where I would pay him. Apparently, Steve Young does not agree with that, but when you actually break everything down and you just go straight up, you want Julio Jones at 22, or do you want George Kittle, right? Like, where would you rather go? I think it explains a little bit more on my side of the argument here on where you want to pay George Kittle. The main point here, and I don't want to see any comments down below saying Thomas hates George Kittle. No, Thomas loves George Kittle. Thomas thinks George Kittle is the best tight end in the NFL. Thomas also is smart and understands that it's a salary-capped league, and giving George Kittle top wide receiver money is dumb. It makes no sense, and the 49ers should not do it. Pay him top tight end money, $13 to $15 million, not wide receiver money. This should not be that hard. Now, I'll ask you guys the questions, though. If you guys disagree with me, then you can voice your opinion right now in the pinned comment. Would you pay George Kittle wide receiver money? And again, we say wide receiver money, $18, $19, $20, $21 million. Would you pay him that much? Type Y down below for yes in the pinned comment. Type N down below for no. Okay, moving on to our big story of the day. This is very interesting stuff, and I got to take a little bit of time to explain everything that's going on. Training camp might be pushed back, not only for the 49ers, but for other NFL teams. Now you say, Thomas, this is not in the news. I'll explain where I got this. So first off, players are upset. You've probably seen this. The players are upset that the NFL does not have the right protocols set up and ready to go for the start of training camp, which starts very, very soon for rookies and starts very, very soon for overall all players here at the end of the July. The NFL and the NFLPA are trying to strike a deal right now, and with rookies reporting tomorrow, things are about to get ugly and very well could get ugly to the point of training camp being pushed back. Now, I think the NFL will get the whole thing covered and a deal done, but this whole story comes because Chris Bitterman, from the Sacramento Bee, published a story for the Sacramento Bee and then took it down, and in the published story before it was taken down, he was talking about the 49ers pushing back their training camp. So, here's what he said, quote, "The move to push back the start of training camp, when the 90-man roster, coaching, and support staffs and media will presumably be on the practice field together, comes as daily positive cases of COVID-19 have increased locally and nationwide. The decision was made after weeks of deliberation with both local and state officials about the best way to conduct training camp amid the global pandemic." So that was a part of the Chris Bitterman Sacramento Bee story that was published to the website and then taken down. Now, 49ers Web Zone asked Bitterman about the story being taken down, and this is what they said, quote, "Bitterman has informed me that the story mistakenly published by the Sacramento Bee was an early draft, has been temporarily unlisted on the site. The beat writer is awaiting more details before finalizing the article." So, I bring this to you as part of our rumor section. We do news, we do rumors to break this down. They are preparing, I think, a lot of the 49er official reporters up there in San Francisco as if the start of training camp is going to get pushed back. They're getting their stories ready, right? A lot of media members will write their stories and have them ready to go and then press send whenever they can officially send them. And this one got pre-leaked a little bit too early, but it does not mean it does not exist, because it does exist. We have the quotes from it. So, do they expect it to be pushed back? Yes. Will it be pushed back? We do not know. What we do know is that the training camp dates are here, they're upon us, and the fact that it's coming in the next couple of days makes it very, very hard for training camp to actually start on time. Technically, rookies report tomorrow. Quarterbacks and injured players report on the 23rd. Again, today's the 20th on filming this, right? 28th, all players report. And then, of course, August 21st would be technically the first preseason game if you cut off the 4th and the first preseason game. So you know how it works, right? Like the middle preseason game for the 49ers. Now, we know what the 49ers, a lot of the rookies are not signed right now. They only have a couple of signed, I think 2 or 3. So how many will actually report tomorrow is yet to be seen. The whole takeaway from this is this could become a very big deal and a very real story in the next couple of days. The NFLPA and the NFL are trying to make this work and hopefully will. That way training camp starts on time. But don't be surprised if you see whether it is every single team or individual teams like the 49ers push back their start date as they continue to have fears about coronavirus and the fact that cases continue to rise around the United States. So, with all that being said, I'll ask you guys this question. Are you confident the season will start on time? Give me a scale from 1 to 10. 10 being, yes, it will start on time. I'm 100% confident. To 1 being, Thomas, there's no way it's going to start on time. I have zero confidence. I think the season can still start on time, so I would put it at like a 7 or 8 right now. Training camp, though, with people reporting tomorrow and rookies not being signed and the NFLPA and NFL having all these problems, don't be surprised. I think training camp will be pushed back. Obviously, we'll wait and see. We'll have that covered for you guys here on the 49ers Report. When we know, you guys will know as well. Hey, this video, as I said, is brought to you guys by our friends at Manscaped. Right now, you get 20% off plus free shipping by going to manscaped.com/49ers. You get yourself, for example, the Lawnmower 3.0, which they sent to me a couple of weeks ago, and I've been using ever since. It's fantastic in terms of its trimming quality, its overall quality, and the fact you can use it basically anywhere with no fear of getting nicked up. That's the best part about the Lawnmower 3.0 is that some other ones, you're either down south or up here, wherever you guys want to trim, it can actually cut you and it hurts, and this one has the guard on it, and trust me, I've been using it for weeks and have had zero problems with it. It's been fantastic. So you get the Lawnmower 3.0 or other products right now at manscaped.com/49ers. 20% off and free shipping. My gift to you guys, link is down below in the description box. Go ahead and pick those up. Again, manscaped.com/49ers. Okay, this one's kind of fun to finish out, kind of a serious first 2 stories. The CBS Sports decided to rank the divisions in the National Football League, and as I have been saying for a very, very long time, the NFC West is the best division in football, and CBS Sports is going to back me up on that. The NFC West was literally rated number 1 Because it's obvious, right? Anyone can win the NFC West because every single team in the NFC West is very, very good. Now, CBS Sports has a great quote on this. Before I show you that, though, be sure to subscribe to the 49ers Report because we are working overtime here to make sure you guys have the latest 49ers news and rumors. And guess what? Once training camp actually starts, which hopefully starts this week, but once it actually starts, so much more news is going to continue to pour in, meaning more videos, meaning more content for you guys. If you want to stay up to date on the latest 49er news, rumors, live videos, everything regarding San Francisco 49ers, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Link or the red subscribe button down below. Here's what CBS Sports said about the NFC West. Quote, "This division is so stacked, it's almost unfair. The NFC West dominated the NFL last year, and it won't be surprising if it happens again in 2020. The NFC West has consistently been producing some of the best teams in the NFL. Not only did the Cardinals have a big offseason, but the 49ers will likely be one of the favorites to win the NFC this year. Well, as long as they make it to training camp in one piece, which isn't exactly a given right now." So the whole takeaway from this is, and it's obvious, every single team in the NFC West got better than where it was last year, and every single team, even the Rams, technically in the NFC West, can win some football games and cause problems not only for other NFC West teams, but for the NFC as a whole. Look at the NFC West team's biggest offseason additions. I had to pick one for each team, and multiple teams had multiple big additions. Now, the Rams didn't have a lot of money, so no big free agent signings, but they did get Cam Akers, the running back out of FSU, in the second round. The Cardinals had the big one in DeAndre Hopkins. The Seahawks added Greg Olsen and some good draft picks, and the 49ers, as we know, Trent Williams. You can also throw good draft picks in there as well. Every single team got better. Every single team can win this year, and that's why I've said for months and months and months the NFC West is the best team in the entire NFL, or the NFC West is the best division in the entire NFL, and CBS Sports backs me up on that, so I want to share that with you guys here today. There you go, though. All the time we have for today on the 49ers news and rumors video, again on the 49ers Report. This George Kittle stuff is going to bleed into training camp. The question is, top-tier NFL wide receiver or a little bit higher than top-tier tight end, maybe in the middle, we'll see. And then the big news today, obviously, the rumored report that training camp could be pushed back. The story was deleted, but it's still there and still was posted. It's still a possibility. We'll have you guys covered on that if and when it happens. So hopefully it starts on time, but things are crazy in the world today, as you know, as I know. Who knows what's going to happen next couple of days and weeks. For Chat Sports and the 49ers Report, I am Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.